Good morning and welcome to Nora's Dog Training Company. We're here today with Fred and Winter, and what we're going to be demonstrating for you today on video is her ability to understand and respond to her obedience commands, the correction and the motivation that we give the dogs when we're working with them, and the training equipment that we're using. Fred is using a regular 6-foot web training leash, and he keeps the bulk of the leash folded neatly in his right hand. That leaves the left hand free to give the correction, and the only correction that we give here at our school is a tug and let go on the training collar, and that is the second piece of equipment that we're using, and both girls are using the same training equipment. Now Winter's sitting very nicely at Fred's left, which is where all of our obedience training is done, and the first exercise that they're going to demonstrate for you is heeling. The command is Winter heel, and at this point she has a job to do, and that is to maintain pace with her trainer, and each time that he stops his feet, she has been taught to sit automatically without being told to wait for her next command. And if you notice that any time that she's acting fearful or shy, Fred corrects her for that. We are not encouraging any of that shy, skittish behavior. The temperament is already set in these girls, but we don't want to baby them and make them feel like that is behavior that we find acceptable. The next exercise that Fred's going to demonstrate for you is the stay. The stay is a hand and a voice command, and if she gets up, you heard Fred say no, and repeat the command. And we want you to lengthen out your time and your distance on your sit stays, because these are good that the girls are away from you and that they're holding their stays. When Fred returns back to her, he is able to walk all the way around her, which is a huge thing. You have no idea how long this, well, you do have some idea how long this took. And they go back to heeling again. So this makes walking your dogs down the street a pleasure. They're not zigzagging and pulling away from strangers and all of those things. Fred leaves her in another sit stay. And this time, instead of returning back to her, he calls her. This is a huge accomplishment, that she would come and sit in front of him and allow him to pet her. And then she goes back to heel position. And they'll demonstrate that recall exercise again for you. Now, Winter of the two girls is the more stable. We've already had that discussion, I know. Fred leaves her in another sit stay, walks out to the end of his training leash, and then uses her name and a happy voice, and she comes in and sits right in front of him facing his knees, and then goes back to heel position and back sitting. Very nicely done. Now the next exercises that we're going to be demonstrating for you are your down commands. These are harder exercises to teach, especially with dogs that are so afraid of everything that's new. So this is down from a heel position. So with your dog seated at your left, you take your left open palm, push it straight down toward the ground, and use the one-word command to down, and then stay. Your sit stays and your down stays help to promote attention span, focus, and maturity. Gives them a sense of independence. They're a little bit away from you. When Fred returns back to her, he will walk all the way around her, ending up again back at heel, or her shoulders, or even with his left leg. And then he tells her to heel, and they start walking. Nice automatic sits every time he stops his feet. He brings her back around to face the camera, and he's going to put her into another down. Tells her to stay. Practice these exercises outside, in your home, anywhere where you want good behavior is where you should practice. This time Fred calls her out of that. She comes in and sits, very nice, and goes back to heel and sitting. Now the next exercise that we're going to be demonstrating for you is the down from a distance. So with her seated at your left, you leave her in a stay. Now some leaves are falling off the tree, so you see her looking up and sort of flinching. Fred's going to use his right hand to give the command, and he drops her into a down. Now she got up, so he's going to put her back into a sit, leaves her in another stay, and puts her into a down. Very good. So you can see that, you know, they're getting a sense of who they are, a sense of self. They do require, you know, some firmness along with a lot of love and reward for a good job. So we've demonstrated her heel, automatic sit, stay, down, down from a distance, and come. We'll be right back to show you Penny's version of exactly the same commands. Thank you for choosing Nora's Dog Training Company.